welcome back everybody. This is Wargamer Sean with part 3 of the Adeptus Mechanicus Cult Mechanicus. Not Scutari. Anyway, let's go through the formations and final thoughts here. So the first formation is a Cohort Cybernetica, and that has 1 Tech Priest Dominus and 2 Castellan Robot Maniples. Now, all models in this formation must be fielded as a single unit, even though it is not normally allowed. The formation's Tech Priest Dominus cannot leave this unit, so they're basically stuck in that squad. The Adeptus Cybernetica, this formation's Tech Priest Dominus counts as a Cybernetica Datasmith for the purposes of a Castellan Robot Protocol's rule. Furthermore, as long as the Tech Priest Dominus has not been removed as a casualty, any Castellan Battle Protocol that you choose at the end of your turn takes effect immediately for all Castellan robots in this formation. That's very helpful, especially if you, let's say, you shoot something, but you think that they're probably going to be assaulted next turn. Then you can turn it over and go, okay, I'm going to change it so I get extra attacks. I'm going to be able to receive the attacks on this. Now, you won't be able to Overwatch, or if you're also going to get combat, you go, okay, I'm, gonna, because I think it has the Cognus. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't have the Cognus special rule. No, it doesn't. Sorry. It does have a Torrent rule, so you're going to still get D3 hits with each of the robots. So you may want to do the protocol where you get the Feel No Pain, the Aegis protocol. That's a good one, too. After you've shot twice. So I think that's a good one. Targeting Override in the shooting phase, any number of the formation's Cybernetica Datasmiths or Tech Priest Dominus can choose to direct the fire of one of his formation's robots instead of shooting. For each model that does so, one of the formation's robots can shoot at a different target from the rest of the unit. So that's potentially worth it as like a way of having a split fire. This formation counts as 3 units for the purposes of Canticles of Omnissiah, so that's good. And if it's completely destroyed, it counts as 3 units for the purposes of victory points when destroyed. So they kind of clarified that, which I really liked. Sometimes they're not always good about closing the loopholes on the rules, but they actually really did a good job here of explaining that in the designer's notes, which I really liked. So thank you, GW. Good job. Anyway, the next one is the Elimination Maniple, and that one is, let's see, that one is 2 to 3 units of Cataphren Destroyers and 1 to 3 units of Castellan Robot Maniples. So these stay as separate units, but they have a special rule called Elimination Volley. If a Castellan Robot from this formation scores 1 or more unsaved wounds, glancing or penetrating hits on an enemy with a weapon that has the Lumigen special rule, all Cataphren Destroyer units from this formation that target the same enemy add +1 to their ballistic skill characteristics, and their weapons gain Ignores Cover special rule until the end of the phase. That's amazing. Especially if you give them the grab weapons. Well, that's really amazing because they're just ignoring cover. So this is one where you'd want to put, you'd want to trade out the Flamer for the, let's see, the Phosphor Blaster, because the Phosphor Blaster, yeah, has the Lumigen rule. So you'd want to spend points to replace either the Power Fist, which I wouldn't do, or replace the Carapace mounted Flamer with a heavy Phosphor Blaster. And then, I mean, all of the Cataphren Destroyers get to ignore cover and +1 their Bliss skill, which makes them Bliss skill 4 instead of 3. This formation, I like the last formation. This formation is really awesome because, holy cow, I mean, that just makes these destroyers really powerful, especially with the heavy grav cannon. I mean, basically, you can mark a unit with the robot maniples, and basically those destroyers are going to destroy that unit. Really, they're going to ignore cover, and they're going to be AP2. And they're going to be hitting it with the Ballistic Skill 4 versus 3. I mean, that's just amazing formation. I think you're going to see that one a lot. It's a really good formation. Really is. Then we'll go to a formation that's probably not going to be seen very much. I really don't see it. Numinous Conclave. This one has 2 to 3 units of Fulgurite Electro Priests, 2 to 3 units of Corpuscari Electro Priests. You must have an equal number of each type of the unit in this formation. The Corpuscari giveth models in this unit of Corpuscari Electro Priest from this formation that is within 6 inches of 1 or more units with the Fulgurite Electro Priest from this formation. Fire 1 additional shot with their electrostatic gauntlets when making shooting attacks. Enemy units that suffer 1 or more unsaved wounds from these shooting attacks are said to be electrified until the end of the assault phase. Fulgurites taketh away. Units of Fulgurite Electro Priests from this formation reroll all failed to wound rolls when fighting with their Electroleech stays. If they are locked in close combat that contains any electrified units, see above. Yeah, I mean, it's a neat little trick with the 2 to work together. But those units are so crappy. I mean, they're just shitty units. It's an expensive way to do it, and oh man, I just don't see it. I mean, you know, they're supposed to be close combat units, but they're not even good ballistic skill and weapon skill. I just think these guys are gonna die, and they only got a 5+ save like a Harlequin, but they're just not that good at close combat. They're not gonna hit very hard. I don't know. Yes, this makes both of these units a little better, but these units are so crappy, I just don't see it taking. Although I do thank GW for doing this and having 2 crappy units in 1 formation, so we're not required to take attacks of a crappy unit to have a good formation. You can just ignore this formation completely. That's my opinion anyway. The next formation is the Holy Requisitioner. And that one is 1 Tech Priest Dominus and 2 to 3 units of Cataphron Breachers. They can deep strike. Oh, sorry, the last one I was talking about that I was making fun of, it does have the Crusader special rule. So, I mean, that's a thing. I don't know how much it really helps. The Holy Requisitioner, all basically units in this formation have deep strike, which is good. All models in this formation must be placed in Deep Strike Reserve. When making reserve rolls, make a single roll for the entire formation, which you can choose to re-roll. On a successful reserve roll, all of the units in the formation arrive from reserve. The Tech Priest formation's Tech Priest Dominus must be placed first. But does not scatter when he deep strikes so long as he is placed within 6 inches of an objective marker. This formation's Cataphron Breachers do not scatter when they deep strike, as long as they are placed within 6 inches of the formation's Tech Priest Dominus. While they are within 6 inches of the objective marker, units of Cataphron Breachers from this formation have counterattack and Zealot special rule. Zealot's very good. Yeah, I can't complain about that. Because I think... Oops. Sorry, I got cut off there. I was checking on these guys. They are leadership 8. So, yeah, that's good. I mean, it's not a bad formation. It's a nice way to get these guys close if you want to. They're not super great in close combat, but they are a way to get them close and in there. I don't know how much I want my HQ in there. I guess I wouldn't want him to be the Warlord. And I'd like to have him attached to a unit. It looks like... It doesn't say he can't be, so I'm assuming he could be attached to a unit they deep strike. But the 2 to 3 units of Cataphron Breachers have to be placed within 6 inches of this guy in order to not mishap. So you might want to be careful where you put him when he deep strikes down. So that is everything. We've kind of talked about everything for the Adeptus Mechanicus Cult Mechanicus. I know. The last, White Dwarf 69, issue 69, I believe that's the one that had a special Just gonna apologize here. I think, yeah, they do have a formation, the Adeptus Mechanicus War Convocation. That is a Cult Mechanicus Battle Congregation Detachment. So you really only have to take the Dominus and 2 troops units, and then you have to take a Scutari Battle Maniple, which is a little bit more things in this Scutari Battle Maniple, and then you can take an Imperial Knight Oathsworn Detachment, so up to 3 Imperial Knights. The Machine Brotherhood of Mars, the formation that have Canticles of Omnissiah, even though they do not all. So basically, all units in this formation have Canticles of Omnissiah. That's really powerful. So everybody benefits from it. The Knights and the Scutari all benefit from Canticles of Omnissiah, even though they are not from Cult Mechanicus faction. Alpha Dominus. This formation's Tech Priest Dominus is your Warlord. He can reroll the results on the Cult Mechanicus table. The Might of Adeptus Mechanicus. All weapons and war gear options taken by this unit's formation, including any relics of Mars or Arcanica Mechanicum, are free. Jesus. Furthermore, all weapons with the Gets Hot special rule by a model in this formation no longer has the Gets Hot special rule. So you get all your relics for free from models in this formation, and anything that gets hot doesn't get hot anymore. So the Plasma Culverins are awesome. I mean, this is really good, and the Canticles and the Omnissiah are good too, and so that really helps make everybody better, including the Imperial Knight. So I think that's a really good formation. I think it checks in around 1,325 points base with like just minimum things, but it's probably gonna be more expensive when you kit everything out the way you want it to. But I think potentially in competitive builds you're going to see that, because I think, well, one conclusion is that I think that Cult Mechanicus and Scutari work very well together, but certainly the Imperial Knights work well together too, because they're tanky and take a beating, and so people are going to focus on them and not necessarily hit your squishier units from Scutari especially and Cult Mechanicus. So I think they all work together well, even Imperial Knights, and I think you will see them. I think you're going to see them together with with potentially even drop pods and other Imperial, like Space Marine builds. But I think I like the Adeptus Mechanicus, the 2 codices together work very well together, and the Imperial Knight Codex does too. And I think you can almost kind of, because there's some factions or families that kind of work with, there's even a house on Mars that works with Adeptus Mechanicus, so I think they're kind of hand in hand, and I hope to see more of those builds on the table, more so than some weird builds with some weird allies from the Imperium of Man. But I think we'll see, competitive builds, you're going to see that. But I think overall this Codex is solid. Even though it's smaller than Scutari, I think this Codex is a lot more survivable and has tougher units in it than the Scutari one. However, the Scutari is kind of a glass hammer, and I think, honestly, they're both going to benefit each other, and the Imperial Knights will too, because if you give your opponent something that they have to focus on that's tougher, those Scutari units are going to get more of a chance to kind of do what they need to do to kill things. And going back to Scutari, those Onager Dew Crawlers with the Icarus array is an awesome thing for Skyfire. I mean, next to the Tau, these guys are probably the best at dealing with flying units and flying monsters, creatures, and they'll kill things like Fate Weaver and the first Demon Prince, Bellicor, because they have stuff that ignores cover. So it's very solid, I think, and I think these 2 codices together are very good. And I'm happy overall. I know some people are upset, and I know some people are upset because it's not as full of a codex. But it's a cheaper codex, and you got as much probably as you did with Harlequins, to be honest with you, and you paid more for the Harlequin codex, and you had to wait longer thanks to the dock worker strike. Yeah, I'm not unhappy with it. I know some people complain because, like, why don't they just have the Scutari and the Cult Mechanicus together in one codex instead of two? And they, it's a way, they think it's a way for GW to make more money. And potentially it is a business decision. It is a business. They are to, make money. And that may have been part of the reason. I don't think it was a full reason, though. Honestly, I think these two parts of Adeptus Mechanicus work very well together, but I think they're kind of a separate entity as well. And I see why they did it, to be honest with you. I mean, not to defend them, but I think that I see why they did it. I don't blame them. I don't besmirch them for doing it, and I think it's fine. But pretty much any codex that comes out, I'm going to buy. And so, I guess they have me, but I like their stuff. I think a lot of people do. Anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed these videos. Hopefully they've been helpful to you, and a review of the Codex Mechanicus and kind of tying everything together. If you like my page, please subscribe to it down below. If you have any questions down below, leave them, or you can email me at wargamershawn@yahoo.com. Please also like my Facebook page and like me on Facebook. Hope to see you again, and hopefully you've enjoyed this talk, and happy wargaming.
Goodbye. 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 Bye-bye. Goodbye. See ya. Bye for now. Bye for now. Goodbye. I like bottoms.